Let's be real for a second. We need to talk about the elephant in the room. You've heard it, I've heard it, everybody has heard it. There is this massive, centuries-old idea floating around that Jewish people have some sort of magnetic pull towards money. It's a stereotype that has been whispered in back alleys and shouted from podiums for hundreds of years. People look at the Forbes list, they look at Nobel Prize winners in economics, they look at the biggest banks in history, and they notice a pattern. But here is where things get twisted. For a lot of history, this financial success wasn't looked at with admiration. It was looked at with jealousy. It was used as an excuse, a weapon to hurt people. But if we strip away the hate, if we strip away the conspiracy theories and just look at the cold, hard facts, we are left with something undeniable. There is a level of business prowess here that is statistically wild. We are talking about a tiny percentage of the global population having a massive impact on commerce, trade, and finance. So we have to ask ourselves, is it magic? Is it genetic? Or is it something else entirely? Is it possible that what we are looking at isn't a secret in the mystical sense, but a blueprint? A set of cultural and spiritual rules that, when followed, almost inevitably lead to stability and growth. We are going to put aside the stereotypes today and look at the system. Because if it's a system, that means it's learnable. That means you can use it too. To understand this relationship with money, you have to understand the history. Imagine being moved around constantly. Imagine living in places where you weren't allowed to own land, where you couldn't be a farmer, you couldn't join the military, and the regular guilds locked you out. What do? You adapt. You are forced into the margins. For centuries, Jewish communities were pushed into roles that other people didn't want or weren't allowed to do. In medieval Europe, the church forbade Christians from lending money with interest. It was considered a sin, but the Jewish laws had different nuances, so the local rulers said, "Hey, you guys handle the money." It wasn't a choice, it was survival. But here is the crazy part. When you force a group of people to become experts in portable wealth, gold, diamonds, currency, skills, education, you inadvertently train them to be the best merchants in the world. You create a culture that values assets you can carry in your head or in a hidden pocket. This created a resilience that is unmatched. While others were measuring wealth by how many acres of dirt they owned, this ancient wisdom focused on liquidity, speed, and knowledge. It turned a disadvantage into a superpower. Now, here is the biggest misconception. People think the goal is just to have a pile of cash like Scrooge McDuck, just swimming in gold coins. But if you look at the core of the philosophy, that's not it at all. The path to wealth we are talking about isn't about stagnation, it's about flow. Think of water. Water that sits still becomes stagnant and toxic. Water that flows brings life. In this ancient wisdom, money is viewed exactly the same way. It's energy. It's a tool to get things done in the physical world. There is a very grounded, practical approach here. You don't see a lot of monks living on mountaintops pretending money doesn't exist. No, the idea is that you live in the world, you interact with the world, and to do that effectively, you need resources. The secret starts with this mindset shift. Money isn't evil, it's not good either, it's neutral. It's like a hammer. You can use a hammer to build a house, or you can use it to break a window. The hammer doesn't care. It depends on whose hand is holding it. And this tradition teaches you to be the builder, not the breaker. Hey, real quick, if you're enjoying this deep dive into ancient strategies and want to unlock more lost wisdom for your own life, make sure you're following the channel. You won't want to miss what's coming next. Let's go way, way back. We're talking about the Torah. If you actually read the texts, it's shocking how much time is spent discussing assets. You might expect a holy book to only talk about angels and clouds, but the Torah is gritty. It talks about sheep, cattle, silver, gold, land deals, and inheritances. Take Abraham, for example. He isn't portrayed as a poor mystic wandering the desert begging for food. The text explicitly says he was very heavy with livestock, silver and gold. He was a tycoon. He had a massive operation running. He was negotiating land deals with local Hittites and paying full market price just to make a point that he owned it fair and square. Then you look at Isaac, his son. The stories say he planted crops and received a 100-fold return in a single year. That's an ROI that any hedge fund manager on Wall Street would kill for today. These aren't just spiritual figures, they are archetypes of success. The narrative established very early on that being connected to the divine didn't mean you had to be broke. In fact, physical abundance was often seen as a reflection of spiritual alignment. Then we get to Jacob. This guy's story is basically the ultimate manual on negotiation and labor contracts. He goes to work for his uncle Laban, who is, let's be honest, a terrible boss. Laban keeps changing Jacob's wages, trying to trick him, trying to keep him down. But what does Jacob do? He doesn't just complain. He uses superior knowledge of breeding techniques, genetic engineering before it was a thing, to build his own flock out from under his uncle's nose. He understands the fine print. He works hard, specifically 14 years just for the woman he loves, and then 6 more for his capital. It's a story of grit. It shows that even when the system is rigged against you, like Laban rigging the wages, if you use your brain and work harder and smarter than everyone else, you can come out on top. It validates the hustle. It teaches that you are responsible for your own financial destiny, no matter who is trying to cheat you. Here is the third topic, and it's the most controversial one for some people. The covenant, the deal. Throughout these ancient texts, there is a recurring theme. If you walk in my ways, I will provide rain in its season, and the land will yield its produce. Now you can look at that metaphorically, but the ancient readers took it literally. It created a psychological framework where success was expected if you held up your end of the bargain. This eliminates the poverty mindset. You know that feeling of guilt some people have when they make money? Like they don't deserve it? In this tradition, if you are doing business honestly, if you are treating people right, and you are working hard, wealth is seen as a natural byproduct. It removes the guilt. It frames wealth creation not as a selfish act, but as a partnership with the Creator. You are effectively the manager of the world's resources. So, I have to ask you guys something, and be honest in the comments. Do you think money and spirituality can actually go together? Or do you think they are total opposites? Does being rich make it harder to be a good person? I really want to see your take on this. All right, we need to reframe how we think about giving money away. In the modern Western world, we call it charity. The word charity comes from the Latin word caritas, which means from the heart. It implies that you give because you feel bad, or you feel nice, or you just saw a sad commercial with a puppy in the rain. It's emotional, it's optional. But in the Jewish tradition, the word used isn't charity, it's tzedakah. And here is the kicker. Tzedakah doesn't mean charity, it means justice or righteousness. This is a massive psychological shift. It's not about being a nice guy, it's about doing what is right. It's an obligation. The ancient wisdom says that your money isn't entirely yours. You are a trustee. There is a specific portion of your income, traditionally 10% known as the ma'aser, that belongs to others by cosmic law. When you view giving as a debt you owe to the universe rather than a favor you're doing for the poor, it changes your posture. You don't get arrogant about giving because you're just doing your job. And strangely enough, this detachment from 10% of your income breaks the grip of greed. It trains you to let go. And as any good investor knows, you have to be willing to let go of capital to make it work for you. Let's get a little metaphysical for a second, but stay with me. There's a concept in physics. Nature abhors a vacuum. If you create an empty space, something rushes in to fill it. This ancient wisdom applies the same logic to finances. The idea is that if you hold onto your money too tight, if you clench your fist, nothing can get out, but nothing can get in either. You stop the circulation by giving away that 10% and doing it consistently, not just when you feel like it. You are creating a flow. You are creating a vacuum. You are basically telling the universe, I trust that more is coming, so I'm not afraid to release what I have. It sounds counterintuitive, right? To get rich, give money away. It sounds like bad math. But ask any high-level entrepreneur about their give-back strategy. Almost all of them have one. It creates a mindset of abundance. If you are scared to give $10 when you have 100, you will be terrified to give 1,000,000 when you have 10 million. This practice builds the abundance muscle early on. It turns money into a current that flows through you, rather than a dam that stops at you. Now let's look at the practical side of this. What happens when an entire community follows this rule? You get something called a gemak. This is an acronym for acts of kindness. In many traditional Jewish communities, these are free loan societies. Imagine you need money to start a business, or you had a medical emergency, or you just need to get through the month. In the regular banking system, you are hit with high interest rates, credit checks, and predatory fees. The bank makes money off your failure. But in this system, the community pool lends you the money interest-free. The goal isn't to profit off you. The goal is to get you back on your feet so you can become a donor later. This is the secret source of resilience. It is very hard to go completely bankrupt when you have a community safety net that is funded by the collective success of the group. It lowers the risk of entrepreneurship. If you know you won't starve if you fail, you are more likely to take the big risks that lead to big rewards. It's a self-reinforcing cycle of wealth preservation that has worked for thousands of years. I'm curious, do you guys have a set percentage of your income that you give away, or do you just do it when you feel like it? And be honest, does giving money away make you feel anxious or powerful? Let me know in the comments. We touched on this briefly in Chapter 1, but we need to drill down. Why is education such a stereotypical Jewish value? Is it just because Jewish mothers want their sons to be doctors? Well, yes, but there is a darker, more pragmatic historical reason. For huge chunks of history, Jewish people faced expulsion. They could be kicked out of a country at a moment's notice. Spain, 1492, England, 1290, France multiple times. When the soldiers come knocking on your door and tell you to leave, you can't take your farm. You can't take your real estate. You can't take the heavy furniture, but you know what you can take? Your education. You can take your skills. You can take your languages. You can take your understanding of contract law and mathematics. This reality created a culture that over-indexed on education, not just for prestige, but for survival. Knowledge is the only asset that has zero weight, but infinite value. It is the ultimate portable wealth. This ancient wisdom prioritized learning above almost everything else because it was the one thing the king couldn't confiscate. There is a joke. If you put two Jews in a room, you'll get three opinions. It's funny, but it reveals a deep truth about the learning style. If you look at the Talmud, which is like the massive encyclopedia of Jewish law, it's not just a list of rules, it's a transcript of arguments. Rabbi A says this, Rabbi B says that, and they fight about it. They debate the tiniest details for pages and pages. This style of learning, called chavruta or study partnership, isn't about memorizing facts. It's about critical thinking. It's about attacking a problem from every single angle until you find the truth. Think about how valuable that is in business. While everyone else is just following orders or accepting the status quo, this mindset teaches you to question everything. Is this really the best price? Is this contract actually watertight? What if the market shifts? It trains the brain to be a hyper-analytical machine. It encourages out-of-the-box thinking because the culture rewards the debate, not just the obedience. It turns you into a negotiator and a strategist by default. In a world that screams hustle, grind 24/7, the Jewish tradition has a radical countermove: the Sabbath, Shabbat. For 25 hours a week, from Friday sundown to Saturday night, everything stops. No phones, no business emails, no checking the stock market, no driving, no commerce. To an outsider, this looks like a restriction. Oh man, I can't work. But to the insider, it's a liberation. It is a palace in time. It forces you to disconnect from the creation of wealth and reconnect with the purpose of wealth, which is family, community, and peace of mind. But here is the business secret. It actually makes you more productive. It prevents burnout. You know how you get your best ideas in the shower or on a walk? It's when your brain is in diffuse mode. Shabbat forces that diffuse mode every single week. You return to the grind on Sunday or Monday, completely recharged with a fresh perspective, while your competitors are burnt out from working 7 days straight. It's not just a religious ritual. It's a productivity hack that has been around for 3,000 years. Okay, challenge for you guys. Could you actually go 25 hours without touching your phone or checking your bank account? Or would you lose your mind? Tell me below if you think a forced rest day would help your career or hurt it. Let's talk about trust. In modern business, we spend billions of dollars on lawyers, contracts, compliance officers, and insurance. Why? Because we don't trust each other. We assume the other guy is going to screw us over. That friction costs money. It costs time. Now, picture the diamond districts in New York or Antwerp. For decades, these have been dominated by Orthodox Jewish traders. Deals worth millions of dollars, literally bags of diamonds, are sealed with 2 words, Mazal Ubracha. It means luck and blessing. They shake hands, and the deal is done. No 50-page contracts, no lawyers in the room. Why does this work? Because of reputational capital. In a tight-knit community, your word is your bond. If you burn someone, you aren't just getting sued, you are getting exiled. You lose your community, your standing, your ability to marry off your kids. The social stakes are so high that fraud becomes statistically negligible. This high-trust environment allows capital to move at lightning speed. While a corporate merger takes 6 months of due diligence, these guys move millions in 6 minutes. That speed is a competitive advantage that no algorithm can beat. There is a rule in Jewish law that says you cannot pray certain important prayers alone. You need a minyan, a quorum of 10 men. You might want to be a hermit, you might want to go meditate in a cave, but the system says no, you need 9 other guys. What does this do psychologically? It forces networking. It forces you to be part of a community, whether you like it or not. You are constantly rubbing shoulders with people from different economic brackets. The wealthy banker is praying right next to the struggling teacher. They talk, they connect. This breaks down class barriers within the group. It means the struggling entrepreneur has direct access to the venture capitalist every single morning at 7 a.m. It creates a built-in mentorship program. You aren't trying to climb a corporate ladder where the guys at the top are hidden in penthouse offices. The guys at the top are sitting next to you on a wooden bench. This accessibility is the secret sauce to lifting the whole community up. Before we had fiber optic cables, the Jewish people had the diaspora, because they were scattered all over the world, some in Yemen, some in Poland, some in Spain, some in Iraq. They effectively created the first global trade network. A Jewish merchant in Venice could send a letter of credit to a Jewish merchant in Cairo, and it would be honored. They shared a language, Hebrew or Yiddish. They shared a legal code, the Talmud, and they shared relatives. This lowered the transaction costs of international trade centuries before the SWIFT banking system existed. While other merchants were terrified to send their ships to foreign lands because they didn't know anyone there, the Jewish merchant already had a cousin at the port. This network effect meant they could import spices, silk, and dyes more efficiently than anyone else. It wasn't a conspiracy. It was just a really, really good logistical network born out of necessity. This brings up a huge point about who you surround yourself with. Do you guys have a tribe? Do you have a circle of people where a handshake is enough? Or do you feel like you have to protect yourself constantly? I'd love to hear your stories about trust in business down below. Here is where most people fail. They make money, they buy the Lambo, they pop the champagne, and then it's gone. Or their kids lose it. The ancient wisdom isn't interested in being rich for 20 years. It's interested in being rich for 200 years. There is a concept called le d'or vedor, from generation to generation. The mindset is that you aren't the owner of your wealth. You are the custodian. You are holding it for the next guy. This changes your risk profile. You stop taking stupid short-term gambles and start looking at long-term stability. It also changes how you raise your kids. There is a huge emphasis on teaching children the value of money, not just giving them the money. If you give a kid $1 million but don't teach him the discipline to manage it, you have cursed him, not blessed him. The tradition focuses heavily on financial literacy from a young age. Kids watch their parents haggle. They watch them give charity. They watch them save. It's an apprenticeship in life. So what is the point? Why accumulate all this gold and silver? Is it just to die with the most toys? The ultimate goal of this wisdom is tikkun olam, repairing the world. The belief is that the world is broken. It's shattered. There is pain, poverty, sickness, and injustice. The purpose of wealth is to provide you with the tools to fix those cracks. Money is seen as potential energy to do good. If you are broke, you can't build a hospital. You can't fund a school. You can't feed a village. But if you have resources, you become a partner in creation. This creates a massive drive to succeed. You aren't just working for a vacation home, you are working because you have a moral obligation to be a force for good. That kind of why is infinitely more powerful than just wanting a faster car. It fuels you through the hard times because the mission is bigger than your ego. We started this journey asking for the secret. We wanted a magic spell. But after looking at the history, the culture, and the laws, we realize the secret is boring. The secret is discipline. The secret is community. The secret is education. The secret is giving 10% away even when it hurts. It's a holistic system. You can't just cherry-pick the making money part and ignore the Shabbat rest part or the tzedakah giving part. It works because it balances the drive for profit with the need for purpose. It balances the individual ambition with the community safety net. The Jewish people don't have a magical DNA for money. They have a software, a cultural operating system that has been patched and updated for 3,000 years. And the beautiful thing is, this software is open source. Anyone can download it. You can adopt these principles. You can build your own trust network. You can educate yourself. You can view your money as a tool for repair. The Treasury of Solomon isn't a vault in a basement somewhere. It's a mindset. And now it's yours. And that, my friends, is the blueprint. It's a lot to take in, I know. But imagine if you applied just one of these principles, like the 10% rule or the weekly disconnect, to your life starting today. How would things change in a year? If you found value in this deep dive, do me a solid favor. Smash that like button. It helps the algorithm show this wisdom to more people who need it. Subscribe to Solomon's Treasury so you don't miss the next chapter of wealth building, and ring that bell. Most importantly, share this video with someone who is trying to build their empire. Let's start a conversation in the comments. Which of these ancient secrets do you think is the most powerful? I'll be reading your replies. Until next time, keep building.